Can you beat a Pokemon Nuzlocke with only shiny Pokemon? In today's challenge, we're going to be playing Pokemon Platinum to see whether we can beat it with only shiny Pokemon. We are going to be adding a twist, however. We can only shiny hunt static Pokemon or gift Pokemon, which narrows down our Pokemon selection by a lot. So let's see if we can beat this challenge. We name ourselves Random and our rival non-sub, because if you're not subscribed, you are the enemy. Our first gift or static Pokemon is of course the starters. We have Chimchar, Turtwig or Piplup. I chose Piplup for two major reasons. One, because I use Chimchar and Turtwig a lot in Sinnoh playthroughs and I wanted to use a Piplup to switch it up. And number two is because Piplup and Empoleon can learn a lot of HM. So I figured they'd be pretty useful because I'm also going to be limiting the HMs on only my shiny Pokemon, so I can catch a HM Mule or anything like that. Only my shiny Pokemon. With all that being said, we start our Piplup shiny hunt. Now I'm gonna be really honest, this hunt took a total of 3 freaking days, because the shiny odds in this game are 1 in 8,192, I believe. So this hunt took 3 whole days. I could have boosted the odds, but I didn't know how to, so I just played as it is. And my goodness, I'm gonna play my live reaction of me getting the shiny Piplup right now. So here you go. I've been doing like this shiny Ponyard hunting in Pokemon Scarlet, and actually it's pretty easy to find. All I had to do is like get the ingredients to get the steel boost, and then like this picnic, and even if I didn't get it, I could just reset and get my ingredients back. So honestly, that was pretty cool. I got my shiny Ponyard like within a few hours, so that was pretty cool. And yeah, what the fuck, holy shit. And yeah, as you can see, I was really excited. My voice became super high for some reason. But we move on, we beat our rival and we move on to Jubilife City. We don't get any other encounters until the next gym, so we just move on to the next gym where we battle Rourke. Since we had the type advantage, Rourke was pretty easy. Geodude was easily dispatched, followed by Onix. The real threat, however, was the Cranidos, because this thing lived a bubble on literally 1 health and then fired back with a pursuit, almost killing us, but we ended up getting the victory nonetheless. While getting back to Jubilife, our Piplup evolved into a Prinplup. With our newfound power, we took down the 2 Team Galactic grunts with Dawn, and we moved on to Floroma City. Commander Mars, the next roadblock of this journey. She leads with a Zubat while I lead with my Prinplup. Metal Claw the Zubat and get the attack boost, so my subsequent Metal Claw OHKOs the Zubat. We have Perugly sent out next, and this thing is a vile beast. Fakes us out, goes for Scratch. I Bubble Beam for over half health. This thing Citrus Berries up, Bubble Beam again, and thanks to a critical hit, we avoid the blood-stained hands of Commander Mars and her Perugly. With that being taken care of, we gain access to our next Pokemon that we can shiny hunt. This Pokemon turns out to be Drifloon. If it is a Friday and if you stand outside the Value Inworks, Drifloon will spawn as a overworld sprite. I save beside it and begin our hunt. Now this hunt was actually pretty short-lived because it only took 1 day as opposed to Piplup's 3 days, and it was actually under 200 attempts. It was 168 attempts, so pretty good. And yeah, this is my reaction to it. Oh, yellow balloon, yellow balloon. After catching the yellow balloon, we made our way to battle Gardenia for the second gym badge. Now this battle was pretty difficult, even though we had a type advantage. It was very RNG dependent. I set up a Minivice and spammed Gust to take down the Turtwig before it sets up Sunny Day, because I don't want Cherrim to get in its sun form. I also forced Gardenia to use her potion on the Cherrim, which is huge because now Roserade cannot heal and we have a higher chance of taking it down easier. We begin to spam Gust on the Roserade. As we bring it down to yellow, it heals with its Citrus Berry. It misses 2 attacks in a row as we leave on 2 health to take down the Roserade, getting our second badge. I told you this was very RNG dependent, and we just about scrape our second gym badge. With that, we get access to our next static encounter, that being a Rotom at the old chateau. Now this hunt wasn't that bad because it didn't take 3 days like the Piplup did, but it didn't take 1 day like the Drifloon did. It was exactly 2 days, and if I remember correctly, it was, as I've written down here, 462 attempts. So it wasn't that bad, but surely could have been better. My mental health this whole run was deteriorating at a fast pace. If you guys hear the plane outside, I apologize. It's pissing me off too. Oh. Oh. Well. Wow. After catching the Rotom, we have another shiny hunt to do. That is the Togepi that Cynthia gives you. Now this hunt was the hardest, longest hunt that I ever did. This took 2 whole weeks. And I had to do this simultaneously while Pokemon Scarlet came out because I wanted to play that as well. So I was genuinely really tight for time because basically how shiny eggs work is that the shininess is already determined when you get the egg, and when you hatch it you have to see whether it's shiny or not. And I had to dance on that line for a long time, 2 weeks, and you can't even reset before it hatches. You have to reset all the way back to when Cynthia gives you the egg and then run again. So it took a long time, but I got it after 2 weeks, and yeah, here's my reaction. Oh shit, yes! Oh my god! Yes! Yeah. With our new Pokemon, we went on to take on Fantina. I did the most BS strategy of all time. I set up 6 double teams and then shockwaved her entire team until I won. And yeah, that's Fantina for you. After that battle, my Drifloon evolved into a Drifblim and we went to take on Maylene. I did a very similar strategy and just minimized until I got max evasiveness and then sweep their entire team with Gus Drifblim. So switched out to Rotom at one point to take on the Lucario and then finished it off to get Maylene's gym badge. With that, our Togepi evolved into a Togetic. And after or before taking on Crasher Wake, our Prinplup evolved into a shiny Empoleon. We took on Crasher Wake as we shockwaved and one-hit KO'd the Gyarados. While taking down the Floatzel, I switched into my Empoleon to tank some crunches. It switches into its Quagsire, I brine it until it goes down and take down the Floatzel with some chip damage. We do the Celestic down thing where we go to the ruins and battle Cyrus and all that. After that, we go to Canalave City to get the Riolu egg from Riley. Now, like Togepi, the shininess of the Pokemon is determined when you get the egg itself. So that was pretty ruthless from the game, not gonna lie. We evolved our Togepi into Togekiss from the shiny stone we get from the cave. And yeah, we got the shiny Riolu in 3 weeks it took me. This one didn't drive me as sane because I had other things to do. I was in the midst of recording my Pokemon Black 2 Hardcore Nuzlocke, so it was pretty decent. While training it up, I evolved it into a shiny Lucario, which was pretty cool. We proceed to take on the Canalave City Gym Leader Byron. I lead with my Lucario to Aura Sphere the Magneton one-hit KO. Out comes Steelix as another Aura Sphere takes it out. Its Bastiodon comes out and I close combat to one-hit KO to finish the sweep as we defeat Byron for our 6th gym badge. After that, we visited the Canalave Library where we heard the huge explosion at the 3 Sinnoh Lakes caused by Team Galactic. We headed to Lake Valor to deal with Commander Saturn. After dispatching him pretty easily, we needed to help Dawn with her battle against Commander Mars. So she obviously had a Perugly once again, but as I have dealt with it before, now I have a Lucario fighting type close combat, so Commander Mars was easy. Next up was the 7th gym, and it was almost an Aura Sphere sweep except for her last Pokemon, which I switched into my Empoleon to surf and then eventually take down the Frostlass. With that, Candace defeated and the 7th gym badge acquired. With that, I unlocked Rock Climb and went to visit Barry. He lost his match and he's feeling pretty distraught about it and he is determined to become stronger. Nevertheless, we head on. I decided to do another shiny hunt of another gift Pokemon. This time it was Porygon. Now, when I was hunting this, I didn't know that it doesn't show as shiny in the icon where you give it its name. So I was resetting based off of that. And I was so distraught to find out that the shininess is after you look at the menu icon. So I was pretty sad after I find that out. And yeah, this is me in shock when I was finding that out. Aw, damn. I've been hunting for too damn long. Nevertheless, after a few weeks of passive hunting, we finally found the shiny Porygon. I named it Malware because it's a virus. Yeah, I evolved the Porygon into a Porygon 2 as we invaded the Veilstone City Team Galactic headquarters. We see Cyrus ranting about how the world is incomplete and we're gonna go to another world, blah blah blah, whatever. There was a Eevee I could have shiny hunted at Hearthome, but I didn't realize I could access it this soon yet because I haven't played Pokemon Platinum in a long while. So if you guys are screaming at the screen to shiny on for the gift Eevee at Hearthome City, then yeah, that's why I didn't do it yet. In an effort to save the Lake Trio, we defeated Cyrus at the Veilstone headquarters, and we also defeated Commander Saturn once again, and the Lake Trio is freed. While climbing Mount Coronet, our Porygon 2 evolves into a Porygon Z, and we defeat Commander Mars and Commander Jupiter in the double battle. Nevertheless, Cyrus proceeds with his plan and summons Dialga and Palkia using the red chain he created from the Lake Trio. Because of this, Giratina is unintentionally summoned and pulls Cyrus into the Distortion World. We enter the Distortion World with Cynthia as we do the infamous Cyrus battle. Houndoom goes down via one surf as Gyarados is taken down via a couple of shockwaves after he heals a bit. Weavile comes out and Lucario takes care of it with a single Aura Sphere. I switch in Empoleon and Togekiss for the Honchkrow, but due to taking too much damage, I switch into my Lucario for a close combat. Malware, the Porygon Z, takes down the Crobat as we finish off the Cyrus battle. I begin shiny hunting the Giratina, and shiny Giratina actually looks pretty cool. And in my 600 attempt on the dot, we find shiny Giratina, the blue freaking sparkle. There we go. After master balling the Giratina, I gave it the very appropriate nickname Twinkle, the best nickname ever. I boxed my Togekiss at Drifblim to make space for the Giratina, and my last shiny hunt of the run, which was shiny Eevee, which I was really excited to turn into a shiny Umbreon. Bro, I've typed this name for like 3 straight days and it's kinda getting annoying. Yes! Oh my god, yes! Ignoring the very obvious voice crack, I evolved my shiny Eevee into a beautiful shiny Umbreon as we took on the last gym leader of the Sinnoh region. He leads with a Jolteon while I led with my Giratina. I go for Ancient Power, getting the Omni Boost. I go for Omni Boost again as it paralyzes me with Thunder Wave. I get a second Omni Boost as I take down the Jolteon. With the 2 Omni Boosts, I Dragon Claw my way to take down Volkner and all of his Pokemon. Now we just have to trek through Victory Road to get to the Elite Four. I replace my Rotom with Drifblim for the final battle against Barry. Barry leads with Staraptor, which I take down with Porygon Z. Heracross goes down thanks to Giratina. And after a couple flies to Torterra, Drifblim goes down. Unfortunately, we do end up beating him pretty easily because the sheer power of our team and due to the fact that we have the mascot legendary in our team. So Barry goes down, but we have our first ever death in this whole run, which is pretty impressive if you think about it. I mean, I planned this run a lot because I was gonna risk it, especially with shiny Pokemon. So our first death has to go to Drifblim. We put him in the death box and get back Rotom in the party. Before taking on the Elite Four through less than legal methods, I changed up my whole team's moveset, and I also changed my Rotom into Rotom Freeze using the secret event. And now it's time for us to take on the Elite Four. With a deathless Elite Four, we stood with enough confidence to stand in front of Cynthia and take on the champion battle. She leads with Spiritomb while I lead with Porygon Z. I go for an initial discharge doing over half damage as she critical hits with Dark Pulse. I get my own critical hit with another discharge, taking down the Spiritomb. Out comes the Lucario as it sees a kill, but I switch into my Giratina to absorb an attack. After 2 Earth Powers, the Lucario goes down, but not before getting us to 55 HP via Shadow Balls. Out comes the feared Garchomp. I banked on it missing a Dragon Rush, but it didn't and hit my Giratina, killing it. I switch into my Appliancer. The only reason I got it to Rotom Freeze for this particular Garchomp, it does hit a Dragon Rush, but doesn't kill Appliancer, and Blizzard of course takes down the Garchomp with no problem at all. Milotic comes out and I Thunderbolt this thing over half damage, but Dragon Pulse critical hit. I don't think the critical hit mattered, but it takes down our Rotom Freeze. Our Porygon Z comes back out to discharge and take down the Milotic, and Togeki's Revenge kills the Milotic. Out comes our very own Empoleon starter all the way through. I Ice Beam it over half damage. But since this thing outspeeds us, it is a pretty futile attempt as Empoleon will go down with another Aura Sphere. I Aqua Jet it for some chip damage as our Umbreon comes out. Go for the Sucker Punch, doesn't kill though, which is pretty unfortunate. She's now in potion range, but I missed my Toxic, so I read it properly but didn't get the favorite Toxic. I got the Toxic off though. Go for Protect and try to Toxic stall this thing, but Elden Ring is too low of a HP. I go for the double Protect, but I don't get it as Air Slash finishes off the Umbreon. Out comes our last Pokemon, Shiny Lucario. I Swords Dance up as I think an Aura Sphere. In retrospect, I shouldn't have done this because for the next Pokemon she sends out, it is pretty futile. I go for a Protect to stall out Toxic and finish it off with an Ice Punch. If I outsped, this Roserade would have gone down, but it outspeeds Extra Sensory, take us down, and we lose the Pokemon Platinum Shiny Lock. After months of shiny hunting and months of planning, RNG going our way to make our Pokemon live with our limited choices as well, we failed the run in the last possible Pokemon of the league. So I said screw it. I leveled my Pokemon all the way back up to level 70 and retried the battle once again, and this time it was pretty effortless. Even though Cynthia still managed to get some kills on me, it didn't matter because the end result was always going to be in my favor, being 10 levels above her Pokemon. She sends out Lucario. I Psychic it, almost taking it down, getting the special defense drop as she Aura Spheres me to 13 HP. She used a full restore, but due to the special defense drop, Lucario goes down with no problem. Out comes Togekiss and I go for a discharge, doing more than half damage, getting it to red and also paralyzing it. She's definitely in a full restore range, so I just switch out into my Lucario. It was in full restore range, so I was opting whether I should go for a Swords Dance or just go for the super effective Ice Punch. I went for the latter and got it down to below half HP. I went for the Swords Dance anyway, which pretty dumb if I think about it right now. But Ice Punch the Togekiss again to take it out indefinitely. Out comes the Garchomp, and this thing obviously outspeeds me to take down Lucario once again. Now my last Pokemon brought out Rotom Freeze to deal with the Garchomp. It missed its Dragon Rush this time, which is pretty funny, as I Blizzard and finished off the Garchomp. Out comes Milotic, and as previously done in my first battle of Cynthia, I Thunderbolted the thing and it goes down in one hit. Her last Pokemon is Roserade once again, but this time I have a lot of overleveled Pokemon at the back. She Toxics me while I go for a neutral Shadow Ball, and a second Shadow Ball takes it down and I defeat champion Cynthia. I might have cheated because as a Nuzlocke rule, if you lose you have to reset all the way back to the beginning, but I was not going to do all that shiny hunting. I couldn't even fathom doing that much shiny hunting in my life ever again. So it would really be appreciated if you guys liked and subscribed. Leave a comment if you want, and as always, see ya. Bye.